time's a wasting. Let's get to it.
Yay! So welcome to our very first meeting of Salesforce User Group San Diego. We're super excited. I'm Christy Brown. I don't super enjoy talking myself, but let me talk about myself for a minute. I am a Salesforce architect on my journey to certified technical architect, which will probably take me a really long time, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I have been an analytics champion. I am an analytics champion and a service champion, and all of the products that those things make up are kind of my babies, and I'm just like a Salesforce fangirl about them all. So hopefully I can share that with you guys. And I've been here in San Diego for about 6 years now, and there hasn't been a lot of opportunity to network with other Salesforce users in the area. And so I wanted to start this group just to start that, just collaboration and networking, and me learning from you and you learning from me. And hopefully, no matter what kind of user you are, a business user or an admin or a developer or an architect, or just like you're interested in the platform and don't know where to begin, or you're a student, hopefully we can all learn from each other, and this will be super awesome thing.
That was a great intro and also really intimidating because you had a long list of things. I am Tracy Hart. I am a Salesforce admin. My journey into the Salesforce sphere started like probably a lot of admins, accidental admins starting around, I think 2012, maybe later, and then making it full time and making it an awesome career choice and an awesome career path. And I just, I tell people all the time, I drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago, and I am also a fangirl and I never want to stop. And so it's just fun to network with other people who are just as obsessed with me, and it's not with me.
Yeah,
Not
with you or with Salesforce?
Just as obsessed with Salesforce. And even if they're not as obsessed, if they have questions or just want to talk about it in general, I love that opportunity. And so I'm also really excited to start this group and hopefully, start seeing you guys in person and networking and just, helping each other and lifting each other up. So there's my intro, Christy.
Woo, I love it. And so this is the first of many and monthly kind of lunch and learn sessions that we're going to do. And we'll keep them on the third Thursday of every month, so they're super schedulable for you. And we'll always record, which Tracy, did you push record already?
I did push the record button. I did.
Totally forgot already. That way, if kids come up or meetings come up, everybody can participate in one way or another. And hopefully, as conditions improve around sunny San Diego, we'll be able to start in-person events, sooner than later. So, yay, user group!
Yay! Now, before we get into the Spring 21 release, which we know it's a little behind, Summer 21's right around the corner, but bear with us for this first one. Usually with these kinds of virtual events, the leaders always ask, introduce yourselves, tell us something about yourself. But for me, at least, if you suffer from crippling anxiety, asking somebody to introduce themselves and tell a little bit about themselves is just like the worst thing you could ask, So we will not put you guys through that. If you want to share a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you love about Salesforce, go ahead and drop that in the chat. When we have these in-person events, of course, we'll be able to talk and function like adults with each other, but not wanting to put that extra level of anxiety when you're just trying to have lunch right now.
I'm going to drop a link in the chat to our official chatter group in the success community, because it's more, asynchronous communication. No one's going to stare at you and wait for you to finish typing. And hopefully we can continue the conversation in between meetings there or on Twitter.
I will put that in
Twitter.
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining this session. We do have a gift card to the Trailhead store that we will be giving out to one random participant today, as long as you go onto Twitter and @mention us and use the hashtag San Diego Trailblazers. I'm putting that in the chat right now. The winner will be chosen at random, and we'll announce that winner within our Trailblazer chatter group. So go ahead and tweet about this. It can be the good, the bad, the ugly. Again, we have thick skin, and all we want to do is improve this. So here's hoping somebody wins.
Well, and not a lot of people are introducing themselves, so
that's okay.
Overtaken by the anxiety, and that's okay. But I think
totally fine.
let's get started with what we want to talk about with the spring release, because we have a special guest who's going to come on at about 12:30. So let's hit it.
Let's get it. All right. I am going to show you something that Christy has called my level of OCD or whatever. But I feel like a lot of us go through the same things when the release comes out. We get the email to sign up for all those release webinars. We are excited. We're jonesing for it. And then life comes up. You know, your tickets or your sprints suddenly blow up and you go, oh, I can't attend this webinar, or I only got the last 30 minutes of it. I'll save the recording. I swear I'm going to watch it. And then, you know, time goes by and it gets forgotten. Well, that happened with me with the Spring 21 release. So as I was watching the release overview, I was thinking to myself, man, there's great parts here, but I'm crunched for time. I wish that I could just go to the parts that were important to me. So that is where this spreadsheet came into fruition, and let Christy mock me for it, but I think it's helpful. I essentially watched it and time-stamped it. And I put in the topic, the highlight, you can see where I got extra excited about things, and then I put in the release documentation. And so this is the entire release webinar. You'll see the link here up at the top of what essentially this spreadsheet is about. And you can go through this and go to the parts that are important to you guys, important to your org, or important to what you want to learn. And so that way it's a little more time saving, but you still feel good about yourself because you're continuing to learn about Salesforce. So with that in mind, I'm going to just go over a couple of the ones that I thought were true gems that I wanted to share with you guys. In the webinar session itself, sometimes they give examples that aren't necessarily pertinent to what a lot of us do. And so I wanted to create demos that may get the creative juices flowing with however you guys work in your orgs. So let's get started. The first being docked prompts and GIFs, or as Christy says, GIFs, and I'm sure 90% of you say GIFs, and you're screaming at me for saying GIFs. I'm sorry, I say GIFs. But anyway.
But which one is the right way? I mean, really?
Technically, GIF is the correct pronunciation based on the person who invented it.
Okay.
I'm
still gonna say GIF.
I know I'm in the wrong. It's fine. Docked prompts are nothing new, but the ability to add GIFs into them gives them, an extra little pizzazz. As you can see here, after I navigated to the opportunities tab in my demo org, I have this prompt that shot up right away, and you'll see I have a little inspirational Schitt's Creek GIF in there to inspire my users. This is also a reminder to all of you, if you haven't seen Schitt's Creek, watch it. If you haven't rewatched it lately, it's time to binge watch it this weekend, for sure. And so this is the doc prompt that I made to tell my sales users something new that I've created for them. This is actually a ticket that I made this week. We had some territory realignments, and I had to make new list views for our sales users. And so, we can communicate our sales users in a variety of ways. Either we post a blog on our company's intranet, we send out an email we hope they read, we host a webinar that they likely mute us during and aren't listening during. So docked prompts are another way for us to reach them in a maybe less obnoxious way, maybe. So that is at least my sincere hope with my organ and our sales users. So here I am just announcing a new list views that are on the opportunity object, bullet pointing the names of those list views, and then just inspiring them with a little GIF here down at the bottom. So this is one part of what's new in the Spring 21 release, this awesome GIF. Next part that's new in the Spring 21 release that I think will make a lot of users happy is the ability to snooze your prompts. I know for me, there were times where it felt like it was just always in my face and I couldn't get rid of it. Now you can tell your users, just click on that little clock and you have the opportunity to snooze this if you don't want to read it right now. So that's really a really cool function too, and something that you should definitely bring attention to if you guys are using docked prompts. Just one more way to say that, hey, we're listening to you as the end user, but we still need you to know about this one thing.
I was reminding Tracy earlier that the docked prompts are really cool because you can decide who, like down to a specific person, can see them. And so I think it would be really fun to use for birthday announcements. So you only see it on your pages if it's your birthday, and I think people would be super happy about that.
For those of you who don't know, Christy is essentially telling me she wants the prompt for her birthday. Luckily, she's born in February, so I've got some time, but I better get it made before next year. I just want to show you guys navigation-wise. I'm in the setup. To go to in-app guidance, if you haven't been there before, you just type in in-app in your quick find and click on it from there. And then there are all these kinds of settings that you can adjust. You can test. There's a walkthrough trial that's really awesome. And then you can see your views right here. And the thing that I think is very important for us as admins after we're done testing is resetting those metrics. Because I definitely don't care how many times I've seen it. I want to see how many times my end users have seen it. So that is in-app prompts.
I love too that just from this view, I can see how many views those prompts are actually getting. And if I set a completion action, I can see how many people completed it. That way I know, one, who's reading my stuff and do they know everything about these new features, or two, is no one ever looking at it and I should stop spending time
And you should
on
stop
them.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
Another great Spring 21 release is the sharing button is back. And I know that's a big deal for a lot of those users who are trying desperately to transition from Classic to Lightning, but that's one of the stopping points. So that manual sharing button is back. And another thing that doesn't go along with it, but I kind of added it, is dynamic actions. And I'll show you what I mean in my demo here in a second. But a dynamic action is essentially giving us the power to make those buttons that we create visible or not visible, depending on what's happening to the record. I know admins, developers, architects alike, we end up creating a ton of buttons to automate things for our end users. It's all for the good of the end user, but we can get a little bit carried away, and then we have a ton of buttons and our end users get confused. I think the biggest thing with that, at least for me, is the approval process. That dang submit for approval button. You have a sales user who's really excited, chomping at the bit. Their opportunity is in a prospecting stage, and they're thinking, "No, I'm going to close this deal. I'm submitting it for approval right now. Don't care if the close date is 9 months away. I'm ready. I'm ready." And so that can create problems with not only your business processes, but your users get frustrated. So dynamic actions are there to save you, and they are awesome because of how easy they are to set up. So I'm going to go into, let's see here. I'll go into one of my opportunities. I created a dynamic action around the sharing button specifically. So I always get nervous about the manual sharing button, so I only want that available to my users when their opportunity is in the negotiation stage. Maybe they need to bring another hand on deck to finish this deal, so they need to share the opportunity. That's the logic that I made for this one. So you will see the sharing button is not here. If I click on the down arrow, no sharing button. I'm going to move to negotiation, mark as current stage, and look at that.
For the win.
Oh, it's so good, and it's so simple to set up. So now the sharing button is there. My end user is not having to click on the down arrow, scroll through all the other possible options to find what they need. It appears for them when they need it. And to do this, it is so beautifully easy. I'm just going to click on the gear icon, go ahead and hit edit page. And then when you are on the record page for editing, you go ahead and click on the highlights bar. Now for my dev org, I already enabled dynamic actions, so it'll prompt you here to enable your dynamic actions and migrate them over. Very simple process, but that's what's going to appear first. After you've enabled that, you will see all of your potential fun buttons that you can then apply filters on. And so you'll see this little orange icon next to my sharing. If I click on that, real simple. I just said when the record is in this opportunity stage, make sure that this appears. And that's it. Save, done, you're good to go. And for the end user, it looks like a huge change, but it really only took you 2 minutes. So that's another just great win, especially if you're in need of one.
It saves so much time. Before we had to switch record types and do multiple page layouts. And this just makes it so much easier for you as an admin.
Exactly. The last thing that I'm going to share before we transition over to Christy is with regards to some hotkeys that we can now use in the Lightning Report Builder. I'll be very honest. I love Lightning. I hate the Lightning Report Builder. I always tell my users, click on this button if you want to make a new report. I myself have always been clicking on the Salesforce Classic button to make a report because for a long time, there just wasn't what I needed in the Lightning Report Builder to build fast. That has changed with the Spring 21 release. So I'm going to go and I'm going to click on the proper Lightning New Report button. And I'm going to make this around cases. Now, in the past, one of my biggest frustrations with the Lightning Report Builder is how I had to update the columns. It felt tedious and one at a time. It was either I search for the field name here or I expand this, and then I'm dragging them over one at a time, praying for death. That's no longer the case because now you have the control click if you're a Windows user or the command click if you're a Mac user. So I am on Windows, so I'm going to go ahead and hit control, and I'm just going to select a couple fields that I want to move over. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. And then I'm just going to drag and drop. So this is a huge deal, a big change from what it used to be. It's just making the reporting speed and how quickly you can build reports that much faster. Besides the control click, there's also the shift click. Shift click allows you to bring in, a section in bulk. So if I didn't just wanted to bring in all of them, shift click allows me to do it. Control click allows me to be a little bit more surgical.
But don't bring in every field like Tracy did.
But don't bring in every field. Like your users aren't going to see that. But this is a huge deal, and it makes the Lightning Report Builder so much faster and so much easier and friendly to use. So even if you're not building reports, I suggest you tell your users, hey, don't forget to control click if you're building something, because it's going to make your life a lot easier too.
I think that hands down, the updates to the Lightning Report Builder were my favorite thing about Spring 21. It is so fast. I think pretty much just like a classic report builder.
Yeah.
And I said earlier we should have a race. I think that would be a super fun session. Race classic versus Lightning.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, before, when you were pulling fields over one by one, it was like at least a 1 minute wait, I feel like, in between dropping them and seeing it appear, even if you turned the preview off. So this is just like magical, and I don't have to tell my users anymore to click the,
You
edit
don't have
with
to click
classic button.
Yeah.
Which was our go-to Band-Aid. Because before, people were just like switching back to classic, and that was always their excuse, was I need to build a report, because nobody remembered that button was there. So this
Yep.
is the bestest.
It is. All right. Those were the demos that I wanted to share. So Christy, I'm going to transition over to you.
Okay, I'm going to be a good analytics champion, and I'm going to talk about analytics, which is not called Einstein Analytics anymore, because in Spring 21, we were officially rebranded to Tableau CRM.
I'm going to make a swear jar, except every time you say Einstein Analytics, I'm going to be quarter.
I like putting in all of my analytics documentation. I now have it like Tableau CRM in parentheses, formerly Einstein Analytics, formerly Wave, formerly
it's like
whatever. I think it's super fun. So let me share my screen. We'll do tabception for a minute here, because I like seeing it. Can you see my dashboard now?
We can. Yep.
Cool. So my two favorite things that they rolled out in Spring 21 are number tooltips and reusable components. And you'll see on this super fabulous dashboard that I've created here. Before Spring 21, we weren't able to have any sort of tooltip on numbers or anything. So if we wanted to have more context about this number, I would need to pull different widgets, maybe have charts about this, whatever. We might be scrolling forever. Now I can apply some context by just clicking into the number here, and then I have new tooltip functionality where I can create a visualization. And if I had any filters or anything applied to that initial query, it would actually copy those here. And I'm just going to give this a name, user tooltip, and then I can start visualizing, and we'll just do something super simple here. So I'm just going to visualize these users by what region they're in, and then we'll just make this look a little bit nicer by giving it a title. And then get rid of some of this junk, except we want to know the names of them. And then we'll get rid of this stuff on top so that it's a little bit cleaner.
Get rid of that legend.
Hold on, let me make it pretty first.
Oh, pretty first. Okay. Ooh.
Okay, now we'll get rid of the legend. So now it's just like super simple chart. And this looks like, a normal query screen. And now when we view our dashboard, when I hover over that number, this beautiful chart
Ooh,
pops up. And so rather than having tons of different charts all over the place, I can just hover over this number if I want more context and see what that is. And then these are also, still hoverable with our own tooltips. So really we could have tooltips inside of tooltips maybe. And you'll also notice that when I hover over it, like immediately, it doesn't do anything. And that's just so that if I'm scrolling down the page, 1,200 tooltips aren't popping up at the same time. So it just takes a minute. So I'm like, are you committed to hovering on this? Okay, let me show it to you.
I like that.
I
And
like
it's
it
also
too.
really cool because I feel like I get a lot of requests where the first dashboard request is, oh, I just need to see high level. I just need to see the numbers. And then that always evolves into, well, what
Never
about
that.
by region and then team and then, day of the week. And then your singular number now becomes this dashboard of scrolling before you get to like other points of data.
For
So this is
sure.
really cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super valuable. And you were mentioning when we first started that sometimes you don't always have time to watch all of the release webinars or read the release notes. And I feel like that's true after the release comes out. We've had this for what, like a month and a half now, and I really just started using this a couple weeks ago. So even though, I went to all the webinars, I still don't have time in the day to actually utilize all these new features that Salesforce gives us every 3 months. Um, so it's just fun to like keep doing new things after the fact.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's new, but it's not. Um, and then my second favorite here is reusable components. And let me tell you why this is so amazing. Reusable components lets you reuse the same thing across multiple dashboards. So I'll give you an example. I have this like pipeline table that I show on no less than 6 dashboards. And so every time I have to make a change to that table, I have to update it on 6 different dashboards, which is a
Oh,
huge time cramp. It kind of sucks. So being able to reuse it and edit it one time in one place and it being reflected everywhere is pretty awesome. So I'll just walk through that real quick. And you'll notice we have this new component widget here, and that's what I've already pulled over. I'll just do it again. And new components don't come around every day, so it was super exciting. The list is short, right? So it was super exciting to get a new one.
when it appeared,
Um,
were you totally thrown off?
no, actually, I was part of the pilot for it, so I knew all
Ah.
about it, that it was coming, but it's still fun to see it there. When the navigation component came around, like last year, or the year before, I was like, "Whoa, what's that?" Anyways, so component. So when I click into it, I can either choose a component that I've already built, which we're going to end up using this one, but let me just show you too how to create a new one. And when you click that, it's really taking you into just an empty dashboard designer, and you can edit the scale of it and drag on your own filters and pictures and charts and whatever you want to have. I'm going to get out of this because I already made one with a fun picture on it. um, so going to click that, and then I'm just going to click spring 21 and click done, and all I put on it was this with this picture.
Let's pretend that mattered. That's amazing.
Which I think about this comic, I think every day. But so if I go into this and edit that component, and maybe I just like add another picture here or something, and this might be scary. What comes up?
I was going to
Not
say,
that bad. Okay, they're all
you you could
gifs,
have
not
shown
this.
something.
I like putting gifs on my on my dashboards, clearly.
Yes, you do.
So if I save this and then exit out of that, if I just click refresh content here, then that change that I made there is reflected here. And if I weren't already editing this, it would just automatically reflect those changes on a live dashboard. So this just saves so much time. And if you've not used Tableau CRM before or haven't played with it at all, I could like gush about it all day, but these reusable components also interact with your filters on the dashboard. So even though it's a component in a different place. On this dashboard, it can have one set of filters, and on another dashboard, it can have a different set of filters. So it is truly just like, Tracy, you compared it earlier to like a global pick list.
It's like the global pick list of Tableau CRM, like that consistency. Because before global pick lists, you'd be like, okay, well, we're updating the team here and they're here and then here across how many objects. And this is
Right?
essentially that, except amped up, you're not having to rebuild the same
Same thing
report
over and over and over
every
again.
time, or make changes every time to the 6 different places. That's just so cool.
I will also say that it extends the pagination of your dashboard. So out of the box, each dashboard you can do up to 20 pages, which is like these, which is sometimes limiting. So being able to embed components that can also have 20 pages in them just really extends the capabilities of what you're building out. So
you're talking like dashboardception here now. Like that's what you're doing.
I love dashboardception. That would make me so happy. Let me go back to where we are. Here we are. So yeah, spring 21. Woo!
I'm going to go ahead and share the CRIP document with you guys, just so you guys, there's the link to the actual webinar within there. It's the highlighted top column there, and hopefully it doesn't, let me know how I can improve it, because I plan on doing this for all the future releases, because I know it helped me, and it helped the people that I work with, just being able to go to the important spots. So that's all I'll say on that. And make sure you guys are tweeting, because we got to find a winner at the end of the session today.
And now I'm super excited. And Gillian, I totally just threw you on the screen without telling you. Sorry.
But it's totally fine. I'm just trying to figure out how to do my video. Oh, there we go. Okay.
There you are. I'm super excited that Gillian's here, because Tracy and I like totally fangirl over you, and we miss you on the release readiness webinars. And whenever you're on something, we're like, yes, it's Gillian.
Yeah, 100%.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
We're showing we're crazy, so we'll stop.
We'll stop. But we're going to hand it over to Gillian, who's going to talk to us about awesome admin stuff. And I'll mute myself now.
Yeah. So thank you for having me. Tracy, Christy, that was super great. I love those demos. Also anything with GIFs and fun visuals makes me really happy. So well done. That was great. And also congrats on kicking off this group. Woohoo! I had a brief stint living in San Diego in my early 20s that I will always fondly remember. And I still have my surfboard in the garage that I haven't touched in like 11 years, but fond memories.
People who live here don't actually surf. I feel like it's the tourists that go to the beach. I think I go to the beach like once every 2 months.
Oh my God. I'm like, I like lived, when I was there, I was like at Pipes every morning paddling out, because I lived up in Cardiff, and like that was just like the best life ever for like 2-3 years. It was fantastic. But
oh my God. Living the dream.
I reminisce. Now I'm here in San Francisco, which today is actually really nice outside, but it's not San Diego. So living vicariously through you. Also the best name of a user group meeting ever. So it made me very happy to say, I need to go to the beach, please, group next. So that was my next meeting. For those of you who have not seen me all over your social feeds and whatnot, I'm Gillian Bruce. I'm an admin evangelist at Salesforce. So I am based up here in San Francisco at HQ. I've been at Salesforce for 11 years at this point, which it sounds crazy to me. I've never done anything for 11 years, but I've been at Salesforce. But my job as an admin evangelist is really to empower, enable, and elevate the role of the Salesforce admin. I have my like I Heart Admin shirt on. I am super passionate about helping those who are not code first people build amazing things on the platform. And so in that capacity, I do a lot of stuff. Our team is amazing. We do so many great things that are all resources to help y'all with your careers. There's admin.salesforce.com in case you don't already know about that. That's where we have blogs multiple times a week, great video content, and a podcast that I happen to host along with Mike Gerholt that comes out every Thursday. And these are all resources for you. Tracy and Christy, you mentioned the Release Readiness Live webinars. So we are going to be doing that for summer very quickly here as we come up on the summer release. In fact, the Admin Release Readiness Live for summer 21 will be on, mark your calendars, Friday, May 21st. So Friday, May 21st, I am going to be part of that one this round. So you'll see my face again. And Mark Baseman, who is in this group, he's a recovering admin evangelist. He's now an instructor with the Trailhead Academy team. He is amazing. He moved to San Diego in the last, a year ago, 2 years ago? I don't even remember. It feels like forever. But he and his amazing partner live in San Diego, and they're wonderful. And so you're so lucky to have them in your backyard. January 2020. God, it's amazing. This whole sense of time and scale is crazy. But I'm crashing your meeting today really because I have an ulterior motive, not just to celebrate and say congratulations and meet you all. I really want to get some feedback from you. So we in the admin relations team, because our whole goal is to better serve you, the Salesforce admin, we need to figure out how to do that best. And what we've noticed over especially the past year, is that perhaps the definition of a Salesforce admin out in the world doesn't necessarily match what we have been talking about it as. I mean, to be honest, we launched kind of this awesome admin identity campaign about 7 years ago, and we have not updated what we define a Salesforce admin as in 7 years. As we all know, there's been a lot that's happened in 7 years. So between the evolution of the platform, with the advent of Lightning, with the huge improvements to Flow, to all of these declarative first developments that allow admins to do more things than they ever were able to do before without code, to the evolution of the job market, right? Salesforce is more pervasive. There are so many more career paths now for people who have Salesforce skills. There are many new employers and new industries now hiring Salesforce administrators, or they should be hiring Salesforce administrators. And so what we really want to do right now is gather feedback from real life people and real life administrators out in the world about job and career stuff so that we can better, serve y'all. So hopefully the idea is that we will be able to kind of have a better definition of what it means to be a Salesforce admin, how you fit into the jobs world, help employers understand how to look for and hire the right people. So these are all things we're trying to do. Again, forward-looking statement to all of those things because I'm making zero promises, but this is what we're working for. So what I'd really love to do is kind of take the next few minutes to just kind of have an open forum and ask some questions. Now, Tracy and Christy, I have never worked with Bevy before, so I have no idea how this works in terms of like opening up the mic and letting people.
We're going to figure it out together. Oh, wait, I got it.
I'll turn everyone on.
Okay. Oh, wait, give them a warning. Everybody, you're getting turned on. Your mics are getting turned on, so stop the eating if you're crunching on something crunchy.
You should be like muted and stuff right off the bat, but.
So the intention now is I'm going to have a couple questions I'm just going to kind of throw out to the group. I would love if you just have stuff to contribute, have stuff to say, if you're comfortable. If you are not comfortable sharing it in this environment, totally cool. I get that. You can either put it in the chat or you can send it to me directly. I'm going to put my email in the chat right now.
Mark is living the dream out on the patio.
You are living your best life, Mark. My goodness.
He came from Boston, okay? Like,
it's right.
Just saying, gang, if you're not taking meetings outside, you're doing it wrong.
I do occasionally take a meeting from my hammock, so that makes me happy.
That sounds lovely. I'm in my basement. Like, God, to be in San Diego. Jeez. So cool. It's nice to see all of your faces. So I'm just going to kind of ask a couple questions. I am going to record the audio of this just for my personal use. Don't worry, you will not be like quoted or on blast in anything in Salesforce land. This is really just like makes it easier for me and my team to like pick out data and stuff. So I am going to do that. Again, if you're not comfortable, I totally understand. Just like send me an email or put it in the chat. But okay, so I'm actually going to take advantage too, since we kind of have a smaller group. I would love if we could do like a little quick round robin of just telling me, like your name, and then what your actual job title is, and then how many years you've kind of been in the Salesforce ecosystem. So I'm going to pick on our fearless moderators here. So Tracy, let's start with you.
Tracy, my job title is Salesforce Administrator, though it wasn't in the past, and I've been in this for 9 years. We're in 2021. I think 9 years. Yep.
Love it. Thank you. All right, Christy.
My official title is actually Salesforce Architect, and I think I'm at like 8 or 9 years, something like that.
Nice. All right, Julian, you're next on my grid.
Yeah, hi, Julian Joseph. I'm actually a quality engineer at Salesforce.org, but I've been at Salesforce about 2 years, in the ecosystem maybe about 5 or 6 years now.
Love it. All right, Joe, I don't see your video, but I do see your name. So,
hey, I'm Joe Freitas, and I'm with Elder Help. Been a tech volunteer for Salesforce, helping out their Salesforce implementation. Been at it for a couple of years.
Sweet. And then Mark. Sorry,
Hello?
Mark Jones.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Mark
Nathan.
Jones, go.
So my job title is technically data coordinator, although it probably should be Salesforce administrator because they don't actually let me do all my data coordinator responsibilities. I'm just Salesforce. Been in the ecosystem now for just over 5 years, with the vast majority of that time being as a solo admin.
Thank you. All right, and Alex. Hi. You're still on mute. Uh-oh.
I can't unmute you, so it's something on your end.
Sorry, Alex, we're going to come back to you. If you figure out how to unmute, you just unmute and I will get back to you. Cool. All right, Baseman, we'll get back to you, sir.
You don't need me. You know me. Hi, everyone. Mark Baseman. I'm an instructor at Trailhead Academy at Salesforce. Have been in the ecosystem since 2005, back in the old days before there was certification and right when they introduced the App Exchange. Good times.
Awesome. Alex, you're off mute.
Yes, I think you can hear me now. Great. Sorry, I had like a billion options and I finally picked the right one. Anyway, so I'm Alex Fox. My title is Salesforce Administrator, and I've been a Salesforce admin for almost 2 years now.
Awesome. All right, Brad.
Did I get all the right mutes off? Because there's like 10.
I
I feel like Alex was living her pain here. I'm like, oh yeah. So my name is Brad Atherton. My actual title is Programmer Analyst because I work at Cal State San Marcos. So their job titles are not very updated, but we are implementing Salesforce. So I've had to wear many hats. Just basically dropped on my plate one day and they said, we need integration. We need this. We need all these other things to pull out of data that we already have. So it's interesting integrating something really old with something very modern. So that's currently what I'm doing. But yes, I'm doing all the from development to admin and everything in between.
Love it. Thank you. All right, Katie.
Hello, my name is Katie. I am a senior Salesforce administrator working with Chainalysis. They're a blockchain transparency company based in New York. I've been working in Salesforce since 2015, kind of bouncing around Salesforce administrator, business systems manager, business analyst, back to administrator.
Got it. All right, Rodney.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rodney. I'm actually a senior buyer at Raytheon. I'm trying to get into Salesforce. I've had quite a few interviews, but it seems like a lot of the companies want 2 years of experience with admin work. So it's been quite difficult so far.
It's Rodney, you're not alone. I've heard that a lot, especially in a lot of these formats. And hopefully part of the output of this work is we'll be able to give you some resources to help you get over that hump. But initially, a good conversation I actually just had with Columbia, Maryland user group yesterday was talking about how building just Salesforce apps for your own personal use and like demonstrating that experience and even using those as like recording videos of demos and those can help combat some of that. Like every employer says you need 2 to 3 years of hands-on experience. So maybe that's helpful, but that's something that we did. We had a discussion about that yesterday. And Julian and Rodney, roommates, I love it.
Right.
Well, thank you, everybody. So, yep, you're going to travel between the boxes. I like it. Okay, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I just have like 2 big prompts that I want to ask, and then I'll have like if you want to give me 5 minutes of your time at some point in the next day, that'd be great, because I'll give you a survey that you can fill out. But the discussion I'd love to quickly have is I'd love to understand what is like the value proposition of being a Salesforce admin. Why is it a good thing? Why is it a good choice for your career? Tell me a little bit about how you feel about that. Anyone can go. Fearless volunteers.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. And I hear Katie's ready to go, but let me repeat the question real quick. Why is it good to be a Salesforce admin? What are the advantages? Why choose to become a Salesforce admin?
So I think for me, for being a Salesforce admin, it kind of allows me to sit in a place where I use a lot of business analysis in my day-to-day. So meeting with different teams, I don't usually talk about Salesforce. We talk about what they're trying to do. And so then it allows you to really be in that place where you can understand the business need and the problem, and then actually be able to do something about it. And as an admin, because I've worked at like large public companies where we can't release code necessarily very often, but I can make configuration changes, it's nice as an admin to be able to like get a little bit closer to fixing what they need without having to go through maybe a super comprehensive, release process for what's really adding a field or defaulting a value for them.
Excellent. Anybody else have something to add to that?
I agree with everything Katie said. And I think that being an admin could also potentially be like a jumping off point for other things. Because as an admin, I'm learning about collecting requirements. Maybe I want to really get into project management or something. Being a Salesforce admin is like the most brilliant place to start. Or, making those configuration changes and working in the automation space. Maybe you go on to be, I don't know, whatever you go to from there, but it's just like such a great way to learn about so many different parts of a business that you can really take that and leap to wherever.
100% agree. I'm able to know the goings on of every department essentially, and help where I can, and also make things better as a result of that. And so it helps me to empower others, but also make things better. We're just in a place where we get to hear everything, and everybody, at least where I work, I'm just the unassuming Salesforce admin, but I can tell you about your quotas, your targets. I can tell you about your service center. I can tell you about your marketing efforts. All of these things that I've gained from being a Salesforce admin, that just puts you in that place to know all the going.
I love that. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just wanted to, on that, because so I didn't know about Salesforce until like 2019, and I was like, I don't even know what to do. So I was like, okay, let me just do admin. Because I wanted to figure out like what do I actually like to do with Salesforce, and it's taught me that I want to be a developer. I like to execute. That's kind of my main thing. I love to just get like all of the requirements and like to set up all of the automation. So for me, I think being an admin gives you a good idea of what Salesforce is and teaches you what is good for you.
That's great. Thank you. Anybody else have anything to add to why it's good to be a Salesforce admin?
I will add just to what Alex said about like using an admin to learn and then become a developer. I think, and also based on what I said previously, I think my time as an admin helped me truly understand data models, and specifically like relational data models, so that I could get into the development side and even the data analysis side. So maybe you want to be a data scientist or something, just understanding how Salesforce data is connected and that's how it's connected pretty much everywhere else too is huge for probably like 1,500 different jobs.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So we talked about the good stuff, which is always how I like to start everything. Let's talk about maybe some not so great stuff. So let's talk about a little bit of some of the biggest obstacles or challenges to growing your career as a Salesforce admin. This can be anything. Like, don't worry, I'm not like going to tell you you're wrong or, oh, Salesforce doesn't do that, but just anything. I mean, this could be from your learning journey to specific employment challenges to anything. So what are some obstacles and challenges that you feel are preventing you or preventing others from growing their Salesforce admin career?
I think, sorry, Alex, do you want to go?
I was just going to say, I think it's the admin part, like the admin word, because I feel like we do more than just like an admin would do. So we're like in that weird in between, like developer, because we're not like doing code, but we are developing stuff like Flow, that's complex. So I think kind of the name is a big drawback because I always feel like it's a dead end. And so I'm always like, okay, gotta jump off.
And I think mine almost like coincides with yours. It's with a lot of the jobs that I've had in the past, it's been like, oh, well, you're going to be in sales ops and you're going to be doing this, and then you're also going to be managing Salesforce, because that's, something that you can do in like 15 minutes in a day, right? And so that's like a constant thing that I think I have struggled with in the past, and especially doing the job search, when I see like you'll wear many hats and one of them is including being a Salesforce administrator, I think to myself, oh my God, I'll never sleep. So it's hard to get people to of it. Like it's truly full-time work what a Salesforce administrator does.
I think the word admin too, and Tracy, I'm going to throw your husband under the bus, but like Eugene thought that Tracy like did data entry all day because she is an admin, and that's what an admin is.
Yes, there was
we'll
an
never
argument.
let him live it down.
That's fair. So do you, here's a question. Do you think there's a difference between calling it admin versus administrator? Do you think that makes a difference at all? Or is it just the term? Okay. I'm seeing a lot of shaking heads. So
I like at one of the Arizona like Dreamin' conferences, it's called Cactus Force. They call them configurators, and I think that's a much better term, even though it's like long and hard to say. Because that's what admins do. They're like configuring stuff. They're not really a developer, like Alex said, but they're like making all these changes and making stuff happen.
That's great.
I think there's something quite interesting I've seen in like quite recently with like various jobs that's gone out that I've seen for like junior admins. I've seen quite a lot of job descriptions that have been posted out where I look at the list of all the things that are expected a junior admin to do, and I look at that and go, I've been in the ecosystem for 5 years and I can't even do half of this. What you're asking a junior admin to do it for? So I think there's sometimes a bit of a misunderstanding from people who aren't like Salesforce centric, who are putting together Salesforce jobs and kind of going like, yes, like you see, like Alex mentioned before, people are expecting like, say, like 5-6 years experience for like an entry level admin position, and you kind of going, yeah, you probably don't really need more than a year, 2 years tops to kind of get into that kind of a role and do well. So I think it's the bit that it's two sides of that same coin. Sometimes there's too much on us in terms of like we do a little bit of everything now, and there's also the side of the employees not necessarily fully understand what an admin should be.
Yeah, that's really fair feedback, Mark. I mean, we've been seeing that a lot, is kind of mismatching job posts versus what they really need, right? I would love to know. So, okay, so totally got the admin term can be problematic. Are there any additional kind of challenges or obstacles to kind of growing your career? Let's say like you've already got that admin job. What challenges do you have to kind of continuing your admin path?
I think so. From some of the like mentoring engagements I've had, one of the big problems is if you're a new admin starting your first job, like you've done all this great Trailhead content, but you've done it all in like a super clean, fresh, new developer org. And so actually jumping into something that has problems that you have to dissect, everyone is not necessarily prepared to do that, especially if they're coming in as a solo admin, even maybe, and they're just like, oh my God, what am I looking at? This is not what I saw in Trailhead. I think that something like that is a big barrier to just getting started. And I did notice just on that there's a new flow module in Trailhead where they start with a messy flow that you have to fix. So I feel like that's like a step in the right direction to fix those types of things already.
I also think that once you've been an admin for a couple of years and like maybe you don't want to go down the developer path, you love being an admin, it's I don't want to compare us to doctors, but you almost have to like pick a specialty. You know, you have to pick like, I'm going to, do Tableau CRM. I'm going to be a CPQ admin, all of this. And if you aren't at a company that currently offers that, your teaching yourself is so limited. So it's like, if I wanted to become a CPQ admin, what my resources are available to me are not there unless I get that job first and then I teach myself as I go.
That's fantastic feedback, Tracy. I mean, that's exactly the kind of stuff I'm looking to get from y'all. So thank you. Question. So if we were to basically kind of frame Salesforce admin as like an umbrella of like job possibilities, right? Under that umbrella, what types of jobs do you see there?
I think, like Tracy said, probably sort of product oriented. So maybe there's a CPQ specialist, or there's a data specialist, or there's a service specialist, kind of maybe like in line with the consultant certifications that we see, but not for consultants. It's just, I am an admin, but I'm specializing on this particular thing. But maybe there's like also a admin generalist or something where they know everything, or I don't know, something along those lines.
Any other like job titles maybe you'd think of in that umbrella? Because I know very often people are Salesforce admins and they don't have a Salesforce admin job title, right?
Totally. I feel like also business analysts are technically admins too, but they're called business analysts. And I feel like that's also a confusing relationship.
Any title with automation in the name, that's usually one of ours, which is it's not bad to have that title, that name in the title. It's just like, that's a giveaway of like, oh, that's Salesforce. Hello.
All right. Well, I'm very conscious of time, so I don't want to take up any more of your time. I really appreciate this discussion. Thank you so much for your feedback. I would love more from you. So if you have thoughts after this, or there are things that like come up for you, or just in general around anything kind of admin career related, or what our team does, or content that you want to see, whatever, please ping me. I am going to put my email in the chat in a second. Seriously, ping me with anything. Like Mark will verify I respond to everything, especially now since like Salesforce is like all on Slack. So I actually read my emails, which is great. I am also going to put this survey in the chat right now. If you have we are going to close the survey tomorrow. So in the next 24 hours, if you have 5 minutes, I would love it if you took the time to fill that out. You'll notice there was a little overlap in one of the questions I asked, but please give me your thoughts. This is super valuable data for us. It's going to help us help you and the broader awesome admin community. Super important. And then I'm going to put my email in there. It's super simple. It's just gbruce@Salesforce. Seriously, ping me anytime. And thank you so much, Tracy and Christy, for letting me take over part of your meeting. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was super fun. That was a great conversation. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And hopefully you'll keep joining us every month. Remember the third Thursday, and tell your friends. It would be great to have more people and spread the love.
And look in the chatter group, because we're putting all the names in the name generator. I'm going to pick a winner and post that in chatter in just a few minutes. So thank you guys so much.
Yay, San Diego.
Have a great day, everyone.
San Diego.
Ghosts.
Thanks for hosting.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.